What's good, y'all? It's your boy BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with the SH Figure Arts Iron Man Mark 6 Battle Edition. What is going on, man? We are back. Got another review going. This is my first SH Figure Arts Iron Man figure, so I am excited to get into it, see what it's all about. I decided to go ahead and pick up the Mark 6 because the Mark 6 happens to be one of my favorite MCU Iron Man suits to this day. I really love the design of it. I can remember like when Iron Man 2 first came out and seeing that suit for the first time. I absolutely loved it on screen. It just kind of reminded me of like a step towards the Extremis armor in the comics, where he has the triangle arc reactor, kind of moved away from the circle and went into like the triangle shape for the arc reactor. I really just like how, the Mark 6 looks, and like obviously that distinguishing factor of, the triangle shape, being different from all its predecessors, which is really dope. So yeah, love the Mark 6. Matter of fact, I forgot to grab it, but I think I do still have my old Mark 6. I will try to grab that. I'd have to find it, so maybe I'll show it off later or something. I don't want to spend too much time looking for that, but I will try to show like at least like a picture of that at the end. Maybe like post it on the channel so that you guys can see a comparison. I forgot to grab it for size comparisons here, but I do have some other Iron Man figures to compare him to, the Mafex ones that I have, so we will be able to see that. But yeah, just really love the suit design. So this is the Battle Damage edition. So there was, I guess, an original release that did come with less parts. It was basically the figure with not so many of the attachment parts that you have here, and then like the battle damage plates that you can swap out. And so there is like a battle. You'll see like in the package he's all clean. The armor's pristine and everything. Looks like it's brand new. But you do have a plate that you can swap out for the chest and the face plate that have battle damage on them in case you want to do that. So thus the Battle Damage edition, right? So yeah, there is a look at the front of the box. I do like it. It has a nice open window. If you're somebody that likes to keep your figures on card or in box, it does have a pretty nice window to display Iron Man, even though his hand here is going to be kind of in the way, blocking partially his body. But other than that, it does have a pretty nice window for you to look at it if that's what you want to do. You got the nice Avengers A logo there on the side, Bandai Tamashii Nations, Iron Man Mark 6 Battle Damage Edition, Marvel's Avengers, SH Figure Arts. You got a little holographic sticker here on the side. I guess that maybe to scan something, maybe to check like authenticity, probably something similar to what Mafex does nowadays. Looking at this side of the box, we have some more kind of like a render, I guess, of the figure with the battle damage. So you can see there, that's what it looks like when you swap out the plate. You got all that nice battle damage, nice chunk of metal missing there on the chest as well as the face. And yeah, back on the bottom there, back that up a little bit. It says Iron Man Mark 6 Battle Damage Edition again. On the back, Iron Man Mark 6 Battle Damage Edition. And we got some nice, shots of the figure posed up here. So we got him in a vanilla pose, just standing. We got him firing some repulsors. We got him flying, and we have him using the red laser that he uses like at the end of the movie when he's fighting the hammer drones with Rhodey as War Machine. So that's a really cool look. I'll probably have him displayed using that quite a bit. And yeah, these are all the pieces that come with him. So you've got some repulsor blasts, short and long, and then you have some for the feet. And yeah, I think that's how that works. I think there might be an instruction sheet in here, so we'll have to figure that out when we open up the packaging. But because there's a lot of blast effects here, so I'm thinking that some of these might be for like maybe the shoulder mounted like cannons and guns that he has. That might be for some of those. But yeah, it looks like I know for a fact he does have repulsor effects and then thrusters for his boots, so that's cool. And then we have all these other shoulder pieces and alternate hands. So yeah, that's dope. We got some Japanese writing there. and you know, all the legalese, barcode, all that stuff. Of course, coming back to this side, we have the figure in the vanilla pose, SH Figure Arts, and not too much more. Pretty much same thing there at the top, at the bottom, all that good stuff. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack this guy open. So yeah, very excited again, being that this is my first SH Figure Arts Iron Man figure. I tend to like the Mafex figures a little better, usually just because of the scale. But I will say that the SH Figure Arts do kind of tend to have a lot of times more accurate colors to the movie. I feel like Mafex, you know, as much as I mean, I still enjoy the Mafex figures. It doesn't detract me from the Mafex ones at all. But I do feel like that is one thing that SH Figure Arts has over the Mafex Iron Mans, is that they tend to use slightly more, you know, accurate paints to what was seen in the movie. And so, you know, we'll get into all of that as we go through the review. But I have picked up Mr. Iron Man here, Mr. Mark 6. And let's see, I'm just getting him situated here. This one piece seems kind of loose. Okay, yeah, there we go. Try to push this piece down. Let's see how that works. Okay, this is kind of weird. Okay, I think it's, that's kind of a weird thing, but yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, here he is out of the packaging. So I just got him standing up straight out of the package. And first initial thoughts is that he does have a very nice, you know, kind of weight to him. He does feel like a sturdy figure. You know, it's a sturdy type of plastic. I'm not sure if he has die cast in him. I believe he does though. I think the feet, if I remember correctly, do have die cast in them. So I think that's what's giving him most of his weight. But yeah, like overall, he does feel like a pretty nice, solid figure. So, you know, no cheapness, no cheap feeling to him at all. So that is very, very nice to, you know, see. Let's see here. So yeah, I guess, man, I forgot to bring the rotating display base. You guys, I apologize. I am filming this a little bit later in the day, later than I'm used to. But I wanted to get, you know, this review out of the way because I have some other videos that I want to drop hopefully this week. If not, then next week. But yeah, a lot of content that I'm looking to drop, you know, very, very soon. So I'm trying to get as many videos out as I can. This week I had to switch to day shift on my job. I usually work swing shift, which is like, you know, 2 to 10:30. But this week I am coming in a little bit early. I'm coming in on day shift, and so I'm off earlier, which means I do have a little bit of extra time to knock out some more reviews. So I figured, you know, why not try to get this guy out of the way. You know, the sun does stay out longer now, which is nice because we're moving towards summer. So, you know, I do enjoy the fact that the sun is out longer. Hopefully the lighting on him is good throughout the video. I know the sun has kind of shifted earlier from when I wanted to start the video. I had to go run an errand real quick. So if the lighting isn't the best on him, I apologize. I'll try to adjust it as we go through the review. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. You know, hopefully everything shows up nice and crisp on the camera here. And yeah, and before I forget, I want to give a huge shout out to Rescamilla 1110 on Macari. Really, really appreciate you, bro. He got this figure to me very quickly. Was a, you know, really dope seller, great communication, everything, and he shipped this out, you know, nice and quick. And yeah, just, you know, really, really, really dope seller. And you know, we had some communication back and forth. So yeah, I really appreciate you sending this figure out to me, man. Very, very excited to review it. And you know, thank you for giving me permission to shout you out. So yeah, just taking a quick look at him, you know, up close, bringing in the Mark 6, man. I really, really do enjoy this armor. Like I said, it is one of my favorite MCU armors for Iron Man. I just really, really like the design and overall look of it. I think SH Figure Arts did a pretty good job here, like as far as the paint work. It seems like he has maybe, I want to say like a satin finish as far as the paint job goes. So it does have a bit of a sheen to it. It's not super metallic though. It is kind of more on the flat side as far as like the colors go. but it does have a little bit of that sheen to it, like a satin finish would have. It does seem a little bit more shiny than I would say a matte. It's not quite like dull or anything. It does have a little bit of shine as the light hits it. So yeah, I really do like how that looks overall. I think that's mostly accurate to the movie, because I know his armor wasn't super shiny for the Mark 6. I would say, I guess like a satin finish would probably be pretty appropriate overall for trying to match the movie. So yeah, I think that actually looks pretty good. Very nice, clean paint job. I don't see any, real scuffs or anything anywhere, any imperfections. Very nice, high quality. Obviously, this is a high-end figure, so we should be getting, premium paint and details on this guy. And as you can see, that is present. So very, very cool. But yeah, that's just like a nice up close look at him, just getting the overall feel of how he looks. I'm gonna move him aside here real quick and show you all the stuff that he comes with, because he does come with quite a bit, being that this is the battle damaged edition. So we shall start off with the blast effects. So he comes with 4 repulsor blasts. And the way you can kind of distinguish the repulsor blast from the thrusters for the feet is is just the overall shape of the effects that they use. So the repulsors have a kind of smaller tip for like the explosion, or like the firing part that comes out of his hand. And so that's kind of like a way you can easily distinguish the repulsor blast from his hands from the fire or thrusters coming out of his boots, because they are a little bit wider in nature. But yeah, we'll look at all that right now. So he's got 2 of these shorter repulsor blasts that obviously go for his hands, and you can see they have holes on the bottom and a kind of like white frosty type of tip. And then it kind of transitions into a very light, like basically translucent yellow-orange color. So that is pretty nice. That definitely makes a nice, effect to recreate what was in the movies for the repulsors. So that's pretty cool. So you got 2 shorter ones about like that size, and then you have 2 longer ones that look like this. All right, so you can see the beam is obviously much more stretched out, pretty thin and long. Again, those white kind of frosty tips there on the end, and you have peg holes to plug them into his repulsor shooting hands. So that looks pretty good. Like how that looks overall. Very, very nice. All right, and then again, coming to the feet or the boots, we have these, which are the bigger effects. Got a lot bigger for the the blast shape. It's kind of like flower shape, I guess, if you want to call it that. It's a lot wider and bigger, so you can tell that these are meant for his feet. Again, has the peg holes in it, same type of paint job, frosty white into that kind of translucent orangish yellow color, which looks pretty nice. So that'll be really dope to have him on display for flying poses. All right, and then you do also have these, which I'm not exactly sure where these go as of right now, but I think they are, I think they might also be for the boots as well. You have these kind of alternate type of, flames or whatever, flame effects. And then you can see at the top here, there's actually like a peg. There's like a little bit of a peg sticking out there. So that, I guess, plugs in somewhere, maybe to his feet. Let's see, looking at the bottom of his feet, he does have peg holes. I see. You can see right there in the middle of each foot, he does have peg holes. So I'm guessing these plug in for the feet. I'm almost certain these plug in for the feet. So you get 2 of these. These ones I just showed, they might actually be for his hands as well. Maybe they're just some extra repulsor blasts. I don't know, like maybe some shorter ones. If that's the case, then they honestly gave him quite a bit of range for the repulsor blast. A lot of different sizes for the effects that you can use. So yeah, we'll see what how that works out later on. And then you do have 2 of the red laser blast to emulate what he uses at the end of the movie when he's fighting, the hammer drones, and he tells Rhodey to get down, and he just spins around, slices all the droids with these, that singular, or I think it actually is like 3 red beams or something, but in the movie, at least I'm pretty sure they come out in like streams of 3. I know for the Avengers, he uses it again when he's trying to like penetrate the engine or whatever for the helicarrier to keep it, keep it floating basically. But yeah, they just give you like one beam for each side, which is good enough for me. The only thing I would say is that I wish the this effects piece was a little more of a solid red, a little bit more vibrant. This is kind of like a very, very light red color, almost into pink, so in nature. So I wish they would have made it a little bit, more of a solid red, personally, but that's just my, opinion. But I do think that it would, resemble what was in the movie a little bit more if it had more of a saturated red color. But yeah, not bad as is. You have like this little, you have like these little kind of circular or ovular little tips with the white, and you can see right here there's a little shape of for a peg. So I'm pretty sure you peg this like on top of his like wrist guards or something like that, on top of the hands, and that's how he's able to basically aim the beam, at someone. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, you got 2 of those, 1 for each hand. And then you have multiple attachment parts. So let's see. I guess first off, we'll go through the hands, the alternate hands that he comes with. So, straight out of the package, we do have 2 fist hands on him, as you can see, which look very, very nice. I would say they're pretty decently sized, maybe just a little bit on the small side, but I think overall they look pretty good. Yeah, I think maybe they could have been just a little bit bigger, but he does have those 2 fists, and then you have pairs of open hands. Quite a few. You actually have 2 pairs of open hands, but they are different. Let's see. So this first pair, if I can get it out of here, there we go. Oh yeah. So this first pair has the peg holes, already in it, or sorry, the pegs. The pegs are sticking out of, where his repulsors are, in the middle of the hand, and so you have the pegs sticking out. And these are obviously for the effects that have the blast effects that have holes on the end, so you can plug those in, have him look like he's firing. So you do have 2 of those with the peg already installed. And then you do have these other open hands, which don't have the pegs. They just have like a silver, piece in the middle to basically emulate the repulsors kind of like lighting up. So if you don't want him, if you don't want like a blast coming out of his hands yet, you can just have him, raise his hand, look like he's about to fire, like he's charging up his repulsor. So you can use these. And yeah, this is pretty nicely detailed. You can see that silver metal piece right there in the middle. And again, you got that nice satin red. It's kind of like a darker red. Yeah, I'd say like close to like a candy red or whatever. And then you do have this little interesting piece on top, this kind of key piece on top that I'm thinking is where those red maybe laser effects plug in, or I'm not sure. Not exactly sure what plugs into this, but this is obviously made for something because it is like a hollowed out piece on the top. So yeah, but yeah, you do have that. So you have the option to have him look like he's firing, or you can just have like this where the repulsor is still charging. Taking a quick look again at this one with the peg that's already installed, you can see that it looks pretty good. Very, very nice all the way around with the paint applications. And again, you do have like that type of hollow piece on top that looks pretty nice, has a nice sheen to it, matches the armor, so that's pretty good. So yeah, those are like the 2 pairs of open hands. And then you also get these kind of like karate chop style hands. So, all of his fingers are together, or like, like he's or like a stop hand. And then, yeah, again, you have that silver paint for the repulsor in the middle. So yeah, very nice paint work overall and detail. The sculpt of the lines for the divots and the fingers and everything looks pretty good. Again, nice satin red finish. So yeah, you got two karate chop style hands for some posing. All right, and then you get, let's see here. Let me see if there's any instructions with this one. Oh yeah, there is. Okay, so let's real quick check out the instruction booklet, because I want to make sure that I'm telling you guys, accurate information about these things. So I'm trying to see what these two pieces that come with him are for. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Forearm, arm part. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, it does come with an instruction booklet, by the way. So in case you're confused about anything and where it goes, you do have this instruction booklet included with it. Hopefully the seller, if you get this on, because this is gonna be on the aftermarket, probably, unless you find it at like some kind of store that still sells this stuff, but he does come with an instruction booklet. So just wanted to throw that out there. But I did just discover that these two kind of odd looking pieces, if I can get it out the tray, these are basically for his forearms. So you can kind of plug this piece in, and it's, I think, like all these like little things sticking out are basically like mini like cannons or like guns that come out. And that is like one of the coolest things about the Mark 6 is that he has like all these like little guns hidden inside like the forearms and like his shoulders and stuff that pop out. I think one of the first times he use it in I think he did use it in Iron Man 2. And then he used it again in Avengers when he was fighting Loki. When Cap was fighting Loki, and then Iron Man pulled up and blasted him and like did his superhero land, and had all these guns pointed at him. So there you go. But yeah, these do look pretty cool. So these are basically alternate forearm pieces that you can swap out, and they've got all these like little mini guns and stuff coming out. Very cool. You can see there's a little peg piece right there for you to plug it in when you swap it out, and pretty nice paint applications as well. Again, with the satin red, nice deep red, and then you have a little bit of like silver, looks like hints of gold paint as well for like these little cannons or like these little missiles that come out. So you can see that got some nice paint variation there. So that looks pretty cool. So you get one of those for each arm. And then let's see, let's get to the battle damage stuff, because I know you guys want to see that. So for the battle damage, we have this swappable plate, this chest plate, which as you can see is riddled with battle damage. So you got all these bullet holes on the side right here, and the armor's kind of like chinked up, and then you have all this like scraped away metal. So yeah, that looks pretty nice. You got that nice clear plastic for the arc reactor shape in the middle there, which looks pretty good. Here's how it looks from the back. So very nice, and you can plug that in. You can swap that out with his existing chest plate. And then you also have the battle damaged face plate, which I'll take out right now. Pop it out of there. Alright, there we go. So here is the battle damaged face plate, which again, very nice paint apps. You can see all that like scraping and discarded metal going across the eye there. See all the silver or titanium underneath, because this is a gold titanium alloy, as he says in the first movie. If he's using the same metals to make the suit, I think he still is. Of course, the Mark 6 was the one that marked him using the new element for the first time, because the one he was using in the first movie was killing him. By the second movie, I forgot what the new element was called. Did they say it? I think originally he was using like palladium, or whatever. Or is that the new? I can't remember if that's the new element he made or if that's what was killing him before. But palladium, was a part of his like arc reactor at some point. I want to say it's the one that was like killing him, and then he made the new element, which whose name escapes me right now. But yeah, very very cool thing about the Mark 6. Like not only was it a new arc reactor with a new shape, but it powered him up and made him basically almost like stronger than ever. So yeah, and then you have these kind of, I think these are like shoulder mounted pieces that you can swap out for the shoulders. And so they have these kind of like guns or missile bullets or something sticking out of there right there. I'm not super, up on my weaponry name, so forgive me, but he does have like this cool piece that you can attach to the shoulders, and they have these missiles or bullets, whatever that is, sticking out with some pretty nice paint applications. You got, a light gold for the tips there. Definitely looks like, reminds me of bullets. They could be missiles, but they'd be like really small missiles. But yeah, very nice paint where you can see that, the kind of shiny gold for the tips. But yeah, they definitely remind me of like bullet casings, like Spitzer bullets or something like that. But yeah, pretty cool. On the underside, you got the black paint. Hopefully the light is good. I know it is a bit dark in here right now, as the sun is slowly leaving us. But yeah, you do have those shoulder attachment pieces, so that's pretty cool. Go ahead and grab the face plate that I dropped. All right, so you got two of those. You got these other shoulder or like shoulder slash back attaching pieces right here that have this kind of like square piece on top. I'm not exactly sure what this is for, this little piece sticking off of it, but again, very nice paint apps for the satin red and the gold. Let me actually see in the instruction booklet what that would be for. Back flight. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we got those pieces. Let's see, what about the ones with the squares on them? I'm trying to find these particular pieces. Let's see, the one that I just had, was it this one? Okay, so I think these plug into maybe his back. It's a little hard to tell based off the diagram. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where this one in particular goes, but from the diagram, I want to say it attaches to either his back or his shoulders or both. So I'll have to play around with this and then let you guys know in the description. I don't have a clean figurine scale to do for this guy just because I didn't really have time to put all that together today. But I will try to include that in the description. Okay, I see right here. Here we go. On the back of the diagram, I think I found the piece. So I guess these are for like his shoulders. It says shoulder armed part outside. So yeah, I guess these are gonna plug into his shoulders, and then as far as like what that top little square piece is, let me pick up that piece again, show you guys. As far as like what this little thing is for, I feel like it doesn't really say. I don't know exactly what that's for. I think those are like, I think this is like a mini turret gun or something like that. So like it's like a small little piece that pops out of the shoulders. This round part kind of like goes over his shoulders, and then this part connects to like his back. So you can see like right here, that connects to the his back. And so I think that this top part with the like gray kind of like square shape, I want to say that it is like a mini turret or something like that. So like a little turret gun. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that is a swappable piece if you want to display him differently. And then you have two more kind of like shoulder slash back pieces that you can attach and like swap out. And these look more regular to me. These don't really look like they have weapons or anything attached to them. Maybe these are like for the battle damage. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, according to the diagram, yeah, I think these are just basically like extra pieces that you can swap out. I mean, he already has, the armor on him, like these kind of pieces right here that look like they're gonna swap out. So, yeah, just I guess basically just like some extra pieces to swap out for the armor for the shoulder and back. So yeah, they give you a lot of options. SH Figure Arts does usually give, at least for like Iron Man and I would say like MCU figures, they do tend to give you a lot of options. So that is always nice. So yeah, plenty of ways to display this guy. So that is great. Let's see what else we have. We have some, these look like alternate wrist guards, but let me make sure. Make sure these are what I think they are. Go ahead and open the instruction booklet again. Let's see. Okay, here we go. These, oh, no, that's not the right piece. Where are these? Okay, here we go. Hand cover for laser effect part. Okay, there we go. So yeah, these, you get two of these, and these are gonna be for those red hand lasers that I showed you guys earlier. The ones that he uses at the end fight. So I guess those hand laser pieces that have like, yeah, you can see it right here. They kind of have the shape, this kind of black shape is like a key, and you would plug that into the shape that those lasers had. I'll bring the laser in again. Remember how the laser had this kind of like, might be hard to see on camera, but like right here, there is like a bit of like a rectangular shape, like that's hollowed out, and that's for you to plug on top of that, black square piece I just showed you, or, rectangle piece. And that is gonna go on top of this like wrist guard part that goes over his hands for him to use the laser. So that is where that comes in. And then I think the last part that he comes with is gonna be these two pieces. You get two of these right here. Let me back it up. Okay, and there you go. And then you can see this piece has two kind of like peg holes sticking out the back. Turn it to the side here. Okay, there you go. So yeah, you can see that. And that piece is gonna be for, looking at the diagram one more time, that is gonna be for his left and right leg. These are, I guess, like flight parts. So I guess on the back of his calves. Yeah, you can see it right here actually on the figure. You can see like these little pieces right here that are outlined have like that shape. Using like your fingernail and your finger, you want to basically remove those, and then you can kind of plug in these pieces, which I think like are supposed to like flap up or something. Like they're like an additional flight thing that he uses. So I think they're supposed to like flare out or something like that. But yeah, you can basically swap those out for, those pieces on his calves. So yeah, so that is all your accessories, all the extra things that he comes with. So yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not going to be able to show all of that in in one review, swapping out all these different parts, but I would say that is plenty for accessories. That's more than enough. And a lot of these are pretty small parts, so you want to be careful, make sure you don't lose them. Definitely don't want to like step on them and break them or something like that. They are pretty small pieces of plastic, and so yeah, you definitely don't want to snap them or misplace them. So I would highly suggest that after you're done, swapping out any parts, that you put them back in the case. Try to find the appropriate shape in the tray that you got them from and put them back so that you don't lose anything. That being said, let's go ahead and look at play and display for this guy. Again, I will update the description for this review with a clean figurine scale rating. I'm not going to do it again in the actual review right now because it would take too much time. But I will give you my thoughts and ratings in the description after this video is uploaded. So let's get into articulation. So starting with the head sculpt, we can look down about that far, which is pretty nice. Looks pretty nicely down. Can almost tuck the chin in. He's pretty close. And then for looking up, so the neck and the head move as separate pieces. So you can technically have him looking up that far. It is going to get, you know, a little gappy in there, kind of similar to the Mafex ones, but it's good that he at least gets that range for like flight poses and stuff. So when you got him like this, he will be able to look dead on, straight forward. So, you know, that's pretty cool. That's always good for flight poses. I think that's like a very important piece of articulation that every Iron Man should have, is to be able to look up very high so that he can, you know, look good in the flight poses. Let's see here. Let's see. Turning side. Yeah, you can turn all the way to the left and the right. I think he might be able to go 360. I'm afraid it's gonna pop off though. Oh, maybe not. Oh, okay, yeah, he can do a 360 on that ball peg. I guess that's connecting him to the neck. So that is nice. As far as like attitude posing, adjustment posing, yeah, you can actually lean his head over quite far to each side. So that is really nice. And again, the neck does move separately, so you can really get a lot of like wiggle room on that neck and head. So that is great. You know, get him in a lot of different expressive poses. As far as the arms go, you do have these shoulder pads on a kind of like hinge piece, and they do lift up like that. So that's nice. They feel pretty solid, like not floppy, like they're gonna like fall right back down. That hinge is pretty nice and tight, and you can raise the arms basically to a 90 degrees, just about, yeah, basically straight out, or maybe just shy of that. He does have a bicep swivel built into there, so that is pretty nice. You got rotation in the bicep, double jointed elbows. All right, so he's gonna get a lot of bend out of those arms, and it does look like the shoulders are kind of like on a drop down type of joint, so they will move the entire arm like up and down so that you can adjust. And just know that like when you push it up past a certain point, it is going to, the shoulder piece is going to collide basically with the, you know, this top part up here, which is going to like move it up. So just be aware of that. You don't want to push it too hard, because you definitely don't want any paint chipping on your shoulder piece. So be careful with that. But yeah, double jointed elbows that get him much better than 90 degrees, and they do come back out. And I like how the elbow looks. I'd say it's pretty flush. I'd say that's a pretty good design. I mean, you can obviously kind of see like the separation as you move it and bend it forward. You do see like a lot of like the gold, internal gold part, but it doesn't look too weird to me. It doesn't look half bad. So I think that's a pretty nice design for the elbow on Iron Man. And yeah, you do have swivel for the hands, so 360 turning for the hands and the wrist. And let's see, you do have a hinge that moves the arm, or excuse me, the hand up and down. So we got a vertical hinge, we got vertical movement, and as well as a little bit of horizontal. So it's almost like a full, you know, range of motion that we get out of the hand. So that is nice. Can move in and out and up and down just a little bit. So that's nice. That is really nice. Let's see. Did I miss anything up there? I think we're good. All right, so with the torso, starting with this upper part of the chest, you see a nice diaphragm cut. So just using that part, oh crap, I took off. Yeah, so these pieces, one thing I forgot to mention out of the package is that these shoulder pieces do come off kind of easily, as you just saw. I tried to bend them forward, so be careful with these. I'm gonna put them to the side for now, and then I'll plug them back in after we finish articulation, just so it'll be easier. But yeah, you can see he's only got like one strip on him now. But yeah, using this top joint, he's able to bend forward only that much, and then bending backwards using that top joint only about that much. So, you know, pretty minimal, but it is what it is. Now, if we use this bottom joint, we have a waist cut right here, as you can see. That allows him, let's see, can he twist? Doesn't really feel like he can twist from that bottom joint. From the top one, it seems like he can twist a little bit, or he can turn a little bit side to side. It does get a lot of resistance though, so feels like it doesn't want to twist all that much. So I'm not gonna force it, but using the bottom joint in the waist, can kind of get him bending forward a little more there. It does feel like a little tricky though, so I don't want to, you know, definitely don't want to force it and break the figure. Moving it backwards, we get about that much using the bottom joint too. So yeah, he has kind of minimal range, I would say, crunching forward and back, not the greatest. Unless I just, you know, haven't reached his full range or full potential yet. But yeah, he gets just a little bit of rotation side to side. I wish it was a bit more, to be honest. So there is that. And then for the legs here, trying to see if he's on drop downs. He's not on drop downs, but you can kick the legs forward about that high. They do kind of stick out to the side, so it might not be the most perfect front kick, but you do get at least about like a 90 degrees for the kick. And then kicking backwards, I guess the legs are kind of drop down. So yeah, you can see this piece drop down from like the rest of the crotch piece, the diaper piece. So it does kind of, I guess, drop down. You can see there, and as it does, you're able to move the leg back about that much. It does start to kind of run into the back here, so be careful. Definitely don't want to chip any paint, but you are able to get a little bit of range kicking back. It does get pretty gappy in there, so just be mindful of that. All right, and you can push that back in, back up, and you have a cut for the thigh, thigh swivel. And so let's see, you get a little bit of rotation out of that cut for the thighs. So there is like some upper thigh swivel there. You have a double jointed knee that allows you to get his leg coming about that far back, which is actually pretty nice. Pretty nice to the lower back, very good. Coming back down. Let's see here, or let's try out to the side. Out to the side. Ooh, okay. It's kind of like clicking. This piece, right, this diaper piece or this crotch piece seems pretty solid, so I'm trying to be careful. I definitely don't want to warp it or break it. But this piece down here for the lower leg, it does kind of like, click and kind of move under that piece. And so if you're careful with it, you actually are able to get him to almost a splits, out to the side. So, I mean, that's pretty nice. You can get him almost full splits. So yeah, that is pretty nice. Just be careful. Yeah, you definitely don't want to start chipping any paint between this part and this part, so be careful with that. Be gentle with it as you move it up. But yeah, you can kind of get some pretty nice range out of that, more than I was expecting, so that's cool. And yeah, and then as far as the feet, let's see, I believe these are die-cast feet again, so they do seem to be kind of on a hinge. They got some weight to them. Definitely feels like there's metal in there. Even feels a little bit cold. But yeah, you can move the feet down about that far. So as far as tippy toes, not quite to the tippy toes, but he's getting there. He's almost there. And then kicking up, they go about that far before they hit, this shin guard part. And then you do have a hinge right here for the foot. So he is kind of able to, let's see, moving down the hinge, get some, just a little bit, can point the toes down just a bit, and then kicking up or pointing the toes up, they can go about that far, which is all right. So yeah, not too bad. And then any swivel, yeah, he does have just the slightest bit of swivel in the ankle, a little bit of ankle pivot or rocker, just a little bit in there for some wiggle room. So yeah, and that seems to be the gist of his articulation overall, which not too bad. I think I definitely know what rating I would give him overall for articulation, but I'll save that for the clean figurine scale, which again will be in the description. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to attach these shoulder pieces back on him so that we have a nice full looking Iron Man, because he's a little armor wise, he's a little bit naked up top right now. So let me try to plug these back in. Let's see, where did this one go? I'm thinking, okay, this one probably went like right here. Okay, let me put this one first. Take that back, let me put this one first. Sorry guys, bear with me for a second. I'm trying to reassemble this guy to how he was when I got him at the package. Okay, yeah, all right, we got one piece snapped on there. All right, let's try the next one. Let's try to put this one back in. Move his head a little bit. Okay, snap this one back in. Okay, we gotta be careful here. Okay, there we go. And then for this side, let's try to put this one back in. Okay, there we go. Oh, there goes one of them popping off again. Okay, let me get that. Let me get that. Try that again, put it in, move his head a bit. Okay, there we go. Oh, wow, this one just keeps popping out. It doesn't want to stay in. Okay, hold up. See if I can get it in there. Okay, there we go. I think that time it snapped into place, so there we go. All right, so yeah, that was a little bit tricky. So yeah, again, just be aware that his shoulder pieces do pop out kind of easily. So I would, definitely be careful with that. And they are like pretty small pieces. They seem a little bit fragile, like a little bit on the fragile side. So you want to be very careful. Definitely don't want to apply too much force and like accidentally snap them. But yeah, not too bad. Overall, I think that was a pretty good spread of articulation for him. Again, I'll definitely put my score for it in the description. But yeah, overall, not too bad. I think especially for like an armored figure, I think he looks pretty solid. And he was able to pose or like at least move decently well given the articulation design. So not bad, man, not bad. But yeah, I think he is a very, very nice figure. I really do enjoy this one. Like I said, I love the Mark 6. To this day, it's still one of my absolute favorite designs in the MCU. I really just like the triangle arc reactor. I know a lot of people weren't fans of that. I know most people prefer, or like a lot of people prefer the circle arc reactor, which is classic. But again, this does remind me a little bit of the Extremis armor from the comics. Had that kind of like triangle arc reactor, and I felt like this suit was kind of like the first step towards that. So I would say obviously like the Mark 50 is probably like the most MCU accurate version of like what was seen in the comics, because he's actually using nanotech there. And so yeah, and like the arc reactor, it wasn't like a perfect triangle like this, but it was it was like kind of shaped like partially triangular, kind of like had like some, you know, edges to it, but it did have, you know, the that still a little bit of that triangle shape. Have I been saying the extremis armor? I don't know. Did I say extremis or? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I did. I just wanted to make sure I was saying I wanted to make sure I wasn't confusing that with bleeding edge, because one of his armors is closer to bleeding edge than the other. Um, the Mark 50 might actually be closer to bleeding edge. I'd have to go back and look at the comments, but I think the bleeding edge actually has like more of the repulsor lights and stuff, which the Mark 50 had a lot of. So, but yeah. Anyways, you guys get what I'm trying to say without rambling on too much. But yeah, very, very nice figure. I do enjoy it. My first SH Figure Arts, you know, Iron Man figure. More than likely, I'll probably end up getting more. They do scale a little bit smaller than Mafex, which, you know, I prefer the Mafex scale of, you know, first. But Mafex hasn't made a lot of the MCU armors yet, and so I'm kind of like wanting to, you know, fill that gap in my collection, and I definitely want to do like a Hall of Armor setup for my Iron Man display. So I know that SHF has made a lot of the, you know, existing MCU armors, at least like, you know, from the first like 3 movies. And so yeah, I mean, I'll try to like wait off for a bit, but you know, if Mafex never delivers on, you know, some of those armors that I'm wanting, I'll probably end up going with SHF. So yeah, this is my first SHF Iron Man. So let's go ahead and get into some size comparisons for him. We got some figures to stack him up with and make sure his head is straight here. Okay, yeah, there you go. Alright, so first up in comparisons, we're gonna get him next to some Iron Man's. Fellow Iron Man armors, we have the Mark 45 Iron Man by Mafex on this side. I'm gonna try to face him a little more towards the camera. Try to get him standing straight here so you get the most accurate size comparison. Okay, yeah, to fix his knees a bit. But yeah, there you go. So you got the Mark 45 from Mafex on this side, and then we have the Mark 50 on his opposite side. And I know you guys haven't seen this Mark 50 in forever. That's because I have him, you know, all displayed and posed up with like, you know, all his different weapons and kind of like in a flight pose, and I didn't want to take him down, but for this review I said screw it, I gotta do it. Bars. But you know, I definitely had to get some comparisons going with SHF and Mafex for this one, being that this is my first SHF. So yeah, you can see again, obviously Mafex is in a bigger scale, which I kind of like better because they tend to scale better with Marvel Legends and stuff, so they're a lot easier to mix. But you know, overall, still not like a bad overall size comparison. Obviously, you know, this Mark 6 is the smallest of the 3. I think this Mafex 45 is the biggest, I would say. I mean, it's around the same size as the 50. I think it might just be like a hair taller than the 50. Might not look like it at this angle, but I would say in person, this one definitely seems just like a hair taller. But yeah, so there are your size comparisons between those. So now you know how Mafex and SHF looks together. Looking at some more SH Figure Arts. Here is the Red Hurricaneer by SHF, or Red Ninja Storm Ranger. And then on his opposite side, we have the Masked Rider by SHF from Kamen Rider. Alright, so there is Masked Rider Blade from SHF. I think I said Masked Rider. This is Masked Rider Blade, to be specific. And you can see that the 3 of these guys actually scale together really well. So, you know, same line, same company, so they scale a lot better. But yeah, I think the 3 of them stack up pretty nicely. Red Ninja Storm is the shortest of the 3. I think that's appropriate. So let's go ahead and move these out the way. And then let's see, for one more Mafex comparison, we have the Amazing Spider-Man 2. This is the deluxe version that came with the Andrew Garfield head and the wall and all that, and that giant web. I had this guy on display for a while as well, so that's why you haven't seen him in reviews lately. But here he is next to this SHF Iron Man. I think he actually scales pretty good. Let's see, his head is down a little bit. Try to move his head up, kind of like have him looking more forward. I think he actually scales all right. Iron Man would be a little bit taller in his suit, of course, and then Andrew Garfield is definitely taller than Tony Stark or like Robert Downey Jr. So I think this actually looks okay. I think you could actually kind of fuse this in the display and it wouldn't look too weird. So yeah, I think that scaling works. And let's bring in the integrated suit, the Tom Holland integrated suit from No Way Home, Marvel Legends. I think this scales pretty nicely. Yeah, that looks about right. Tom is, I believe, like 5'8" in real life, and Tony Stark is Robert Downey Jr. is like 5'9". Obviously, in his suit, he would have a little bit of a height increase. So this actually doesn't look too bad to me. I think that actually looks about accurate. So yeah, there you go. I think that'll definitely work for your displays if you want to mix. And let's see, for some NECA and McFarlane comparisons, we got the NECA Assassin's Creed Ezio from Brotherhood right here, and the McFarlane Toys DC Rebirth Deathstroke on this side. You can see these two are obviously much bigger boys, towering over this Iron Man, making him look puny, but hey, size, never judge. It's not about it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. But yeah, there you go. So you can see they are obviously about a good full inch, maybe inch and a half taller than this Iron Man. So definitely out of scale, but if you wanted to put them together, you could. And let's see, for some Hasbro Black Series comparisons, we have the Black Series Duels in Darth Vader from Kenobi on this side. And then for another Marvel Legends, we have the Retro Card Shocker from Spider-Man, the animated series. And yeah, there you go. So I think the three of them actually look pretty good. Iron Man isn't too much shorter than Darth Vader, and he's almost the same height as Shocker, just a little bit shorter as well. So, I think he would be a little bit small, honestly, if you're trying to put him in with these two. But I think you could make it work. You could probably fudge it in certain, action poses and things. Probably wouldn't be too noticeable. So yeah, there is your comparison with those. And to wrap it up, we have the DC DC Universe All-Stars Classic New 52 style Batman. I believe Mattel did this guy. And then for a older Bandai comparison, we have the Lightspeed Rescue Pink Ranger. All right, and there you go. So yeah, I think the three of these look pretty good. Iron Man, I'd say, is, I think, in decent scale with the Pink Ranger. Batman is about the same height, honestly, maybe a little bit taller. But yeah, I think overall that works. I think you could definitely mix the three of them if you wanted to. So yeah, there you go. That is all the size comparisons, and that is going to conclude my review of the SH Figuarts Mark 6 Iron Man figure. All right, by Bandai and Tamashii Nation. So do I recommend it? Absolutely. I do think he definitely comes with a lot of, nice accessories. A lot of stuff that was shown in the movies does come with him, and you can swap them out. He has a lot of different, swappable parts for a lot of fun and playability. Again, I would just be very careful when it comes to swapping the parts out. Some of them do tend to pop out kind of easily, and they are small parts, so you definitely don't want to lose them. So definitely, take your time as you're swapping those parts out and be gentle with it. You definitely don't want to snap the plastic, because it wouldn't take too much force to break these pieces just because they're so small and thin. So yeah, just be aware of that, but I do honestly recommend it as a figure. Hopefully in the future, Mafex will release some of the older armors from the MCU, like, you know, Mark 6 and before. But, you know, for right now, we just kind of have like the more later suits, like, you know, the 50, the 45, 43 and whatnot. So hopefully they end up doing some of the older suits. And then if you're a Mafex collector like me, somebody who prefers the Mafex scale, you know, hopefully you can add those into your collection. If Mafex ever does end up doing a Mark 6, more than likely I'll probably end up, you know, getting rid of this one. I might sell them off, I'm not sure yet, but, you know, we'll see. But yeah, overall a very solid figure. I do like the paintwork, pretty movie accurate, I would say. I think it looks pretty nice, and I think it does resemble what was shown in the movie. Real quick, I'll show a shot of you know, what he looked like in Iron Man 2. So let me go ahead and pull this in for you guys. So yeah, this is a quick shot just showing what he looked like in Iron Man 2, as you can see. And yeah, I think overall, like, the paint scheme matches on the figure. You got that nice dark red. It's not super shiny, but it definitely does reflect some light. So yeah, I think overall that's all right. I think maybe they could have made the red just like a touch shinier if they really wanted to be accurate, but I mean, as is, I think it does overall look pretty good. I think the overall head shape looks pretty right. Sometimes, you know, companies kind of struggle, I feel like, to get accurate MCU Iron Man, you know, faceplates and whatnot, but I feel like they did pretty good on this one. So yeah, I'd say the colors overall are pretty good. So yeah, definitely recommend it if you can find it for a good price. I got mine off of Mercari. You can definitely try Mercari or eBay, or, you know, any other good figure sites that you know, and you know, have it for a decent price and don't break the bank. Then I would definitely say go for it. But that's going to be it for the review. So hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, feel free to share it. And yeah, gonna have a lot more content coming hopefully this week. If not, then probably next week. Just depends on how busy this week ends up being. But yeah, if you're new, please subscribe and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the figure. Do you have this figure? How do you feel about it if you do? And do you want it, you know, after seeing this review? So yeah, this has been your boy BioSpider 3.0. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and peace.